Hey guys, we're going to be taking a quick detour today and upgrading our Apollo client. It just went from version 1 to version 2 and quite a bit changed. So they made this nice migration guide that we're going to go through and just get our application up to date. We don't need to change anything on the server, but just all on the React, the client side. Now before we get started on this, I want to talk about the server real quick. So we recently added this all teams query where what we're doing is we're grabbing all the teams that the user is a part of. But right now, a user can't really be a part of any other team except the ones they create because we haven't implemented that part yet. So right now I have the owner where I'm basically finding all the teams that you're an owner of here. That's why I'm saying owner is equal to user ID, where user ID is wherever you're logged in on. And we just need to add this where clause here. Before I was actually selecting all the teams that exist. With this where, we will grab only the teams that the user is part of. Well, not part of, that they own. I had forgotten to add this where, so before what it would do is it grab all the teams. But ideally we're going to change this query later when we actually have teams that you can join, and this will be like, we'll be changing this query up, so we might have to query multiple tables to find all the teams that you can see. But until then, this is what we're going to keep it as. And now on the client side, when you do that, you might get an error that looks like this. So here I have view team, and I get this nice little error that says cannot find a property read undefined. So this is because we have hard coded the team ID. Let me show you. So I'm just going to console.log all teams. So it's saying that we're not getting a team basically, so you would think maybe this user doesn't have a team. If we scroll to the top, we can see they have teams. The only thing is the ID is 7 and the ID is 9, and we're passing in, trying to find the index where the current ID is passed in. And we're hard coding this from our view team here. We're passing in a 1. So we can't find any IDs of 1 because we can see the ID here is 7 and 9. So if you're getting that error, it's because we just have it hard coded. We're going to be fixing that in a video to come. But if I change this to 7, this user has a team of 7. It should render okay for us, and it didn't. Console.log all teams, and I'm just going to print out all teams, team IDX, team, and then also the current team ID. And we can look at all these values and see why it's not working. And okay, as soon as I add that, it does start working. So we can see this guy has 2 teams here. I don't get any errors with channels. Some users were getting errors with that. I'm not sure what that's about. But here we go, console.log, we can get rid of now, and this is all good. Okay, so let's now talk about upgrading our client. So I'm going to come over here to index, and here right now we're basically have one package called React Apollo. And what we're about to do is add a crap load of packages from all over the place. So we had one package before, now we're going to be using at least 5. I think we might be using 6 at the end. So I'm going to copy this. Basically what they're doing is they're saying this is what it looked like before, this is what it looks like now. So instead of doing React Apollo, we're going to paste in all of these things. And now we have to install 5 more libraries. So Apollo client, so yarn add Apollo client, and Apollo link, HTTP, Apollo cache and memory, GraphQL tag, and a React Apollo. So once we have those, we don't need GraphQL right here, and we don't need GQL right here. But here's the thing, we need it other places. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to do a find and replace in my files. So how we were doing it before, and this is super small font, so I apologize for that, but we want to basically replace this. So React Apollo, and oh, do I not have this? I should have this somewhere. Oh, because I'm also importing other things, GraphQL. So we need to like break up this statement here. Import GQL, comma GraphQL into 2, like this. Because now GQL doesn't come from this package, it comes from a different one. So luckily I have a small package, so I could just do it manually, which I think will be easier than doing a find or replace. So I'm going to actually just get rid of this. I'm going to search for GQL. This is coming from GraphQL tag now. So here we go. Copy. And you know what? I'm going to create a little macro in Vim to do this for me, I think. So let me finish this one, GraphQL tag, and then we'll have it populate through. Okay. So we got that one. Good. This one, we got at least 3 more. So let's create a macro. So I'm going to pop over here, delete that, add a space, come down here, import GQL from GraphQL tag. Come to the end here. Cool. And now our next one is over here. And here's our last one. Alright, so we've replaced all our GraphQL tags. Cancel. Alright, so now we actually have to change how we're creating this network interface and creating our little client here. They also got rid of Redux. Oh, I forgot to mention, we need to also do yarn add GraphQL. So they also got rid of GraphQL, or not GraphQL, Redux for their provider, which is kind of interesting because not everyone wants to add Redux to their project. So let's hop back over here and see how they recommend doing this now. So before, this is what we have. When we're now creating a link like this, paste this guy over here. So we're going to create a client by, I'm going to create the link up here because I know we're about to do some stuff because we have middleware. And this create HTTP link is coming from this package up here. And I'm going to close this guy. And we can get rid of, well, we need to keep it. We need to change our URI so it matches. Okay. So that's how we create our client. We need to feed the link in here, but we're going to do that in a second. And then our client, instead of creating it here, we can get rid of that. We pass it into Apollo provider just like that. So that stays the same. And then down here we can see how we do middleware, which is exactly what we're going to do. Middleware and afterware. So I'm going to copy this guy. So our middleware here, we need to set context, which again comes from another package. So they really spread out all their things. So if I come over here, I can say yarn add, what was it, Apollo link context? Okay. Apollo link context. And then for headers here, I'm going to copy what I have here. And we just need to have a property. And these can be commas now. There we go. Okay, so we're saying the X token and the X refresh token property for the headers here. So instead, now we're doing this middleware link and we're setting a context, which is really just a function, and then we're returning an object with headers. And then we have to basically concat this guy with this link thing we created up here. And I'm going to move my client down below. So now you see why I have the link like that. We are concatenating both these together, and then we're passing link there. Okay, so now we just have to do our afterware. I'm going to get rid of my middleware now. And here's our afterware. So here's one way to do afterware. This is if you want to catch errors that happen we're not really caring about errors, so we're going to copy this example here. And again, this is a new one we haven't added, I believe, Apollo link. Yep, we have not added Apollo link yet, so yarn add Apollo link. And we're going to paste this guy in here. This is going to be our afterware. And let's import him. I think it was, yeah, we'll copy that. Okay, so here I'm going to say afterware link, and here it takes an operation in forward. We are not going to do it like this, so I'm going to get rid of that. That's if we want to actually change how the response, but we don't care about that. So we're going to put our logic here that we have here, and then we're also just going to say afterware link dot concat, so we connect all these guys together. And copy this, paste it here, and kill this stuff. So here, where do we get this headers object from, you may be wondering. Well, there's this operation thing that has a get context, and then from that we can get the headers is equal to operation.get context. So this passes back a object which has headers in it, and then there we can do headers.get. But now headers can actually be undefined, so we just say if headers, and then we'll look at it. And at the very end, just so we go to the next step, we say return forward operation. Give that a save. And I believe that's all the things that we needed to change. So let's just walk through this real quick, everything we did. So we added a ton of different libraries at the top, all different packages from Apollo. And the reason why they went with this approach is because you can swap any of these out for different styles, or just, if you want to customize them in any way. So we're creating a link, an HTTP link. This will change, I believe, if we want to do WebSockets or stuff when we do subscriptions later. And we're pointing it at our GraphQL endpoint here. Then we're creating two things, middleware and afterware. Our middleware will run before this every GraphQL request, afterware running after every request. And then the same thing, we're passing tokens before, and then here we're grabbing tokens from the header, grabbing them and setting them to refresh automatically. And then here we're concatenating together, so it's like a little pipeline that we're building that's going to get run. And then we're passing this to our client, and now you can have different types of caches. So we're using the in-memory one, which is their default one, I believe, and creating the client, passing it to Apollo provider. Now we just did a lot of changes. Let's see if we're getting any errors on our server, and we're not. That's good. I'm really surprised. Okay, yeah, this is what I thought. Webpack import module default is not a function. I would have thought we got some type of error. Oh, that was the other thing. We changed all where we're getting this GQL from, GraphQL tag now. So I think it was what query broke? All users query. So our all users, I believe, is on our home route. And I don't know why this is breaking. I'm just going to restart it because I don't see any error here. Oops. So this is going to restart and we can see what's wrong. Right off the bat, I'm not seeing anything. Oh, I see. That needs to be wrapped in like that. Oh, I think I did that wrong for a couple of them. Let's see where I am importing React Apollo. Yeah. It's supposed to be still like that, where you put curly braces around GraphQL. My mistake. So let's add that back in. And we should be good after this, I think. Cool. So everything seems to load okay. I'm just going to try like a login and make sure our mutations and stuff work in our middleware. Oh, we don't have a home component. Okay, so our all users query still works. I'm going to grab that user and log in. I'm actually logged in as the Bob16. That looked like it worked okay. View team. We have AA. Let's create a new team. BC. Let's view it. Oops. And we see a new team there, so perfect. So everything seems like it is working. We made quite a few changes. Let me know if you had any trouble upgrading this. I'd be happy to help you out. And this code I will push up to GitHub so you can check it out and see all the changes we made. And notice we had no changes made to the backend at all, at least with Apollo and GraphQL to get this to work. So that was pretty nice. So that's it for this video, guys, and we will continue where we left off with our project in the next video. So thanks for watching.